With Call of Duty World War II quickly approaching, I wanted to do a little series leading up to its release. I'm sure I mentioned it once or twice before, but I love researching and learning about World War II. I've read countless books on the topic, and one thing that never ceases to amaze me is the bravery and heroic efforts displayed by certain soldiers. A lot of soldiers receive medals for their services, but not everyone wants to openly boast or even talk about what they did. Every time I stumble across a first-hand account of such bravery, I write down the person's name and do further research about them. So in this series, I wanted to highlight certain individuals and share their accomplishments. The first person I chose to talk about is not an American, but he assisted the Americans during World War II. His name is Leslie Bull Allen. He served for Australia during the war as a stretcher bearer, often the unsung heroes of World War II. He was nicknamed Bull for the way he charged through his opponents when playing with the battalion in football. So on July 30th, 1943, during an American assault against the Japanese at a place called Mount Tambu, more than 50 US soldiers were injured. 2 medics were also killed trying to retrieve these guys. Now the Australians were there, but they weren't supposed to be involved in the fighting. But having witnessed so many casualties, Bull Allen was determined to do what he could. And here's where his heroic tale begins. By himself, Bull Allen decided to go up the mountain and start carrying men out one at a time on his shoulder. He was facing not only the Japanese snipers, but also machine gun fire and mortar fire. When he would return down the mountain to drop one of the men off to safety, soldiers would make bets on whether he would return. And return he did. There and back again, Bull just carried on. In an unbelievable display of magnificent courage, and with bullets all around, he continued to go back up and grab more and more men. And you have to remember, these weren't even Australians. These were Americans, so he was risking his life carrying men from another country. Now, historical records show that Allen saved at least 12 men that day, but witnesses have told Allen's children that their father saved 18 American soldiers. Now, I often try to visualize myself in the hero's predicament. It's impossible for me to simulate the sheer terror of bullets whizzing by and shells exploding. But I can't even imagine having the courage to charge up a mountain, grab a man on my shoulder under gunfire, and run him back down to safety, let alone doing this repeatedly up to 12 or even 18 times in a row. The fact that he didn't even have a weapon and managed to survive is just mind-boggling. How does one single man prevail under conditions like that with the will to carry on over and over again? It's absolutely amazing to me. Later in life, Bull's son said his father didn't boast about what he did at all. And he didn't even talk about it that much either. But in the United States, he was hailed a hero and was awarded a Silver Star, which is the highest honor possible for a non-American. In fact, First Lady Eleanor Roosevelt was one of many to write him a letter of gratitude, and she even continued to keep in touch over the years with him. In return, Bull Allen named his only daughter Eleanor after her. It's been reported that Allen was even offered Hollywood film roles for his heroic acts, but he turned them down. Unfortunately, though, the war took its toll on Bull Allen. In 1944, 1 year before the war's completion, he was assessed as unstable and discharged after he assaulted an officer and was demoted. Now, after the war, he suffered from severe post-traumatic stress, and he even lost the power of speech for 6 months. He lived to the age of 65 and he died in 1982. So sometimes war is killing, and sometimes it's saving lives. But thanks to one single man, a dozen more survived.